What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time in Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to, of course, recap, Game 2 of the Mavs Warriors using Game 3 of the Celtics Heat series. But we also have a bit of an NFL-style draft. We're going to draft the same way we did Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. We're going to do that for the MVPs. We just put out a Twitter poll to see who's going to get the first pick. I'm excited to see that everyone will give me the first pick because they should. And then lastly, we're going to end the episode with some questions from you guys. We've mentioned that we want to do this, and we're going to do it. So any questions that have come to our email, stayhotpodcast@gmail.com, Instagram, Twitter, we're going to be answering some of those today. But before we get into all that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd like to bring up that we cooked up a 5-leg parlay on the last episode, and it hit.
It hit.
It did, dude. That was
the most impressive thing about that is we came up with that parlay in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it was just like all of us were like, here's something that might be good, and it all worked out. I'm a little surprised that I thought Draymond Green under 8 points was gutsy. That's the one that I wouldn't have done. So I got to give credit to Theo for that one, but I'm proud of it.
To you guys, I wouldn't have done the Curry 3.5 like the over threes for Curry, and
he hit that at like halftime. Didn't
all our overs hit at halftime. The Looney over hit at halftime. The Brunson over hit at halftime. The Curry over hit at halftime, and then Clay had 6 points and Draymond had 3. So it just came down.
I got a little nervous in the fourth quarter. Clay started hitting some shots. I was like, please,
but 20 don't hit. 20 was insane for him.
Yeah, 20 was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, that one was the one that I think all of us, when we saw that one, were like, well, let's add that. That was cool. I'm back in Minnesota. I have been kind of exploring this. So I'm from a small town, right? Northfield. But when I was here, in high school, obviously I wasn't 18, so I wasn't like super into the bar scene. But like, since I've been back, I've been going through that a little bit more, and it's been fun kind of seeing that side of town, which since I've been 21, I haven't really been able to come back, or since I've been in college, I haven't really been able to come back and do that because of COVID and everything. So it's kind of a side of town that I haven't seen at all, and it's been fun. Shout out Frankfurt, all right? My soccer team that I never watch because I don't know how to watch soccer on any American channels, but I do keep up with them, see how they're doing in the standings, and apparently they won the Europa League finals. So at least one of my teams that I never watch and could not name a player on won something. But I know my family in Germany was very excited about all that, so shout out them. Shout out Peter and them.
Fair enough. Due to big soccer.
Wir lieben Eintracht Frankfurt. Es war sehr cool.
If there's any soccer fans in here that understand anything that he's saying, good for you.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch the Champions League final, Liverpool versus, I think it's Manchester City that they're playing on the 28th. I'll watch that. Okay. I'll talk about that on the podcast when it happens.
My family was watching soccer earlier today, and I'm like, why are you watching soccer?
Because soccer rocks, sadly.
No, it doesn't. Nothing happens in soccer, man.
Nothing happens in football either. Nothing happens in basketball. No. Every sport is boring, all right? I don't know why we talk about these things.
Only soccer is boring. Baseball is boring. Football is very fun. Hockey's fun to watch. I like hockey a decent
Hurricanes,
amount.
Baby. I've been watching a little bit of hockey recently. They're winning it all this year.
I think in an order of games that I think are fun to watch on TV, it's like football and basketball. But like watching hockey in person, I think is like one of the most exciting sports to see live.
People always say that. I think hockey just rocks to watch on TV as well. They're like, oh, I don't like watching it on TV, but I love watching it live. I like watching hockey live, like a lot. I don't know. Hockey rocks, sadly. I don't get time to watch a lot of it, but whenever I do, I'm always well entertained. Yeah. I'm surprised it's not bigger here. It's a shame all the players are like not marketable because they all have the same personality and they all have weird European names that no one can remember. Right. So that's their problem.
You need to get like Tom Brady on the ice. Then they'd be able to market it. But
right.
Just a reminder, everyone, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Did anything? I'm trying to think about what happened that was like subscribe to the YouTube channel. Our prize pick hit. That's definitely worth subscribing to the YouTube channel for. We've had 2 back-to-back guests that you guys asked for. We got Bangle back on. We got Kenny Beecham on. So we've delivered. Time for the reciprocation. Now subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We always appreciate you guys helping us grow this podcast. But let's talk about some playoff basketball. Which game do you want to hit on first?
I'd be mad
Celtics
if
Heat?
I was a Celtics fan. I'd be very upset. They should have won that one. The Celtics took a big step up this season, but there's still some games like last game where it looks like it did at the beginning of the season. I can't believe how many bad turnovers they had.
Jimmy Butler got hurt just randomly.
Not being able to take advantage of that, and they just shot themselves in the foot a lot. And I know, having Williams out hurt and all that stuff, but that was a tough one to lose. That's one of the ones where if the other team's best player is out, you gotta go take advantage.
You're right. When Marcus Smart got hurt and then he came back out of the locker room like Superman. Remember when Lamar did that against the Browns and you knew it was over? Right,
yes.
You knew Lamar was going to come out and he was going to end the game. And that's exactly what he did. I thought the same thing was going to happen when Marcus Smart came out, and it just didn't.
You're comparing Lamar to a unanimous MVP.
To the defensive player of the year.
It's a Marcus Smart. I don't know who the quarterback equivalent of Marcus Smart would be. Probably like a Derek Carr or something like that. I don't know. I guess there are people out there who would say Derek Carr is better than Lamar Jackson, but who knows? I don't know. I feel like the Celtics might be the best team left. I really do. Just because whenever they lose, it always feels like they were the more talented team out there. They probably should have won. It seems like that's a refrain we keep going back to, is they got played out of the building. No, they just didn't play make the way they should. They didn't share the ball the way they should. And granted, that's part of being a team, but it does seem like when they're playing at their peak, they should be unbeatable. And even when they lose, it's the game was right there for them. But it's young, first year head coach and all that, still a pretty young team. So outside of maybe Horford, Smart's a vet. I guess that excuse isn't really valid anymore for them. They've been here too many times, but first year head coach, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, they're down 2-1, and it's hopefully Butler will be back healthy. Obviously, if he is injured or not 100%, that really opens the door for the Celtics to make a comeback and win the series. Hero has not been great in this series, especially last game. Bam has not been great in this series outside of last game. So the door is definitely wide open for the Celtics to come back and still win this thing. But time is of the essence here, and none of those things are a guarantee.
Yeah, the missing posters were about to go up for Bam. He needed this.
Yeah, he did.
And Williams being out maybe makes it seem a little bit
yeah.
But still.
Spoelstra and Pat Riley made the call. They said, snub him from the defense team. Snub him from all defense. We need to get Bam angry. They made the call.
It's just,
I love Bam, though.
I think one of the big differences between these teams is the depth. How many guys can the Celtics reliably play? I guess Williams is out, but how many guys do you feel good about them having on the court? Like 7. It's not many, dude. It's a short list, and I feel like with the Heat, their depth is really crazy, and it's partially because they're so good at developing guys, and I feel like they get the most out of everyone. It's I'll be honest, I had written off Victor Oladipo, and he's not doing anything crazy, but he's playing some very strong defense. He's forcing turnovers. He's definitely a positive for them. So I think that's one of the big advantages that the Heat have, and especially with how banged up the Celtics are. It's Smart he's been a little in and out, and Horford was in and out, and Williams is in and out, and that's one place I think the Celtics are going to have to improve this offseason, regardless of how this series ends. They're they're a guy or two off the bench away.
Yeah, the Celtics had 7 guys who recorded points yesterday. The Heat had 11. Now, granted, Derek White had 0 points and he played 14 minutes. But still, after that's like 8th guy, Pritchard. You've got like Malik Fitz, Luke Cornett, Jawan Morgan. You got Naismith, I guess. But, the Heat have Duncan Robinson and they barely even play.
Yeah, I mean, Duncan Robinson is getting playing time on a lot of teams, and he can't even see the court.
Right.
So, and then the other thing about this game is like, dude, Tatum is so inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And I think that I saw Rusty Buckets tweeted this, and I kind of think this about players who are maybe don't have a ton in their offensive game. Like players who are not really high level passers are going to really disappear when they're having off nights scoring. I feel the same way about, this is not a good comparison, but like the Hornets have Terry Rozier, and when he is not scoring, like when the shots aren't falling for him, he's not doing anything. It's tough. And with Tatum, again, not the best comparison in the world, but I feel like Tatum has some nights where he really does disappear. I thought that was a really good take by Rusty. So you just got to see it more consistently out of him. You see these Tatum like top 5 takes, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet at all.
No. Yeah,
it's hard when you're best. He's supposed to be the best player, the leader of this team. If he can't be consistently playing at a high level, like regardless of if you have depth, right? You need to be able to rely on Tatum to be a high level player at all times.
I mean, other guys like the top 5 players are going to have their bad games, but some like real
Tatum has had multiple. Yeah,
but it's the multiple. Consistency is a problem with him, and I think people are a little bit too quick to go and blame like the top player of a team if they lose a series, but it might be the case with Tatum here that he does deserve some of the blame, and he definitely deserves some blame for this loss, because if he was playing even remotely close to like himself, they win.
Yeah, and
how did he even shoot? Did he even?
I'm assuming not good.
Didn't he did he make 1 3? Was it? And
he went like,
what was it?
1
for 7 from 3.
Yeah,
Jesus
and he
Christ.
couldn't get to the rim either, and Bam, good job, Bam, for all that, but and more, but yeah, and he's had his fantastic performances too, because it's tough, because to close out that Heat series, that Bucks series, he was on fire, so. Yeah, the inconsistencies, the ceiling is definitely there. And again, that's what it comes down to with the Celtics. That when you look at their ceiling, you're like, damn, this is the team with the high ceiling. They should be winning these games. They have the best player on the court in Tatum, or they should, but he's just not tapping into that.
Yeah, definitely if Jimmy Butler's out, they do.
Yeah. So,
and it's, I almost and that's what's missing from the Celtics team, is that I don't trust Tatum and Brown to both go out and consistently have good games. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's not infrequent that one of them is not going to be pulling their weight. And when you can't get both of them on the same level, when they both can't knock down their shots, when they can't, without being high level playmakers and passers outside of that, I think that's a big reason why the Celtics struggle.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the stats now, and I'm looking at their starting 5 of Tatum, Brown, and Williams, and Smart, and all those guys. Their starting 5, per 100 possessions, is plus 21.6, or plus 21.6 points per 100 possessions, which is stupid good. And again, I think that kind of speaks to that's why they look like they have the highest ceilings. But again, Williams out this game, and just dealing with injuries throughout this entire playoff process is a lot. We talk about it all the time, staying healthy is part of it, is the biggest part of it, really. And they haven't been able to do that. But I also thought this game was interesting just because of what Hero was doing. And he got sort of benched or wasn't playing a ton of minutes because of shot selection. And they won anyway, won despite him. And, with some of the trade rumors regarding maybe Kyrie or Donovan Mitchell, I do wonder if games like this kind of move the likelihood that Hero is included in one of those deals, because if he was, I doubt that there's a player you're getting better than that, and you can move him for like a Donovan Mitchell if it really came down to it. Do you have any, like, I don't know, games like that?
I would say my thoughts about Tyler Hero is that he's a really strong sixth man.
Yeah.
And I'd what is his ceiling as a player?
Devin Booker.
A more consistent version of what he's doing now.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very good player. But if right now the Heat, like he is an important part of a team that is seriously contending. He can score the ball efficiently overall, obviously, some games, but I wouldn't feel good about him as the main piece back in a trade package for Donovan Mitchell. That wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't do significantly better. But if that was the best player I got, I'd rather have a pick package.
Okay.
Especially considering that he's going to get paid here soon. No.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I don't know. I like him, but he doesn't. Not for a Donovan Mitchell type player. And I understand you're not going to get an equal player back, but. Well, I don't love his ceiling, I guess.
Especially for the Jazz, I guess, which famously had 2 Sixth Man of the Year contenders like a couple years ago. So getting another guy who could come off the bench and score is not necessarily a major need for them. So yeah, maybe.
But if you're the Heat, do you feel like you have to shop him? I think it's more of a position where it's like, if someone comes to you with a good offer, yeah, you're willing to take it because you feel like you might be able to replace him. But I don't feel like you need necessarily to shop him. And it's just like, well, if his contract comes up and he wants more money than we're willing to pay him, we'll just let him go.
Yeah, I don't know. It comes down to the fact, if they lose the finals, right, they're going to say, okay, we're very close. We could just use a little bit more star power. And in an offseason where like you add Donovan Mitchell to that team in the starting lineup, like, yeah, that could maybe push you over the top, So it might come down to something like that, because you kind of do need a super team to win in the NBA a little bit. Not maybe to the extent like the prime Golden State Warriors were, but You need a lot of star power to win the NBA Finals. So the Heat have it, but they could use it probably a little bit more. And if they lose the finals, I can definitely see them looking to try to find another all-star. One more thing about this game, Kyle Lowry came back. And I think that just having a point guard like that calms everyone down a little bit. And when Jimmy Butler gets hurt, the fact that you have a vet like Kyle Lowry there to distribute the ball and do all those kinds of things. Like, he had that play late in the fourth quarter, 48 seconds left, Celtics still alive. And he had he had the timeout and he was like freaking out. Like there was just some like crafty vet plays that he was able to give them. So yeah, it wasn't like the hugest Kyle Lowry game of all time, 11 points, 4 for 11. It's still something that I think if Butler went out and he wasn't there, I still think that could have been a loss for Miami. I think that despite the shooting, it was good to have him back.
How many steals did Miami have last? Like they had
100. A lot, dude. Oladipo had
Oladipo too. If
that's what I'm saying. Lowry
had
had 4 himself. Bam had 4 himself.
If Oladipo can start scoring, that would also just totally change.
I don't know if he's ever gonna be what he was, right? Especially from the scoring end, but he is he's a very good defender, and he goes out there and he grinds when you put him out there. So the Heat always seem to get the best version of whatever player they have. Right. Like there's a world there's a world where Oladipo isn't, helping a good team, and the Heat always seem to find it, especially with the undrafted free agents too. They're crazy, but it just comes down to the Celtics need to move the ball better. I think their playmaking it's all been the thing that has killed them all year. It's what improved and allowed them to get better. And when you're playing a tough team that's going to force a bunch of steals and you can't move the ball, that's what you're struggling with. That's what leads to a bunch of turnovers, and it makes you look sloppy.
The Heat forced 23 turnovers.
Got to have less than that.
Pretty close to 100, man.
And it's crazy. They still could have won.
Yeah.
if Tatum had just played a little bit better.
How many times have we said that about the Celtics in the playoffs? Theo, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
How many times have we said that? It's like,
yeah,
well,
like
they lost,
and
but
it's
like,
true. It's got to be super frustrating because that Bucks series had no reason to go to 7. That should have been over. That should have been over in 6. They should not have given up game 5. And I picked the Celtics to win this series. I'm sticking by that. I'm not like panicked about the Celtics, but
it's going to be nerve-wracking.
Eventually, yeah, it's like you survived the game 7 against the Bucks, who you had them outgunned. And maybe you survived this series, but like this, eventually you're going to drop a game that you couldn't get away with dropping over some stupid stuff. And the Celtics might still be just a little young or one piece away.
But at a certain point, you can't just keep being, oh, well, we're a little too young. Oh, we're just a piece of.
Well, maybe young isn't the right word. Maybe it's just like, this is your first year with the head coach, and like we've been talking about the things.
We've been talking about this already, but yeah, we can move on to the next series, the Warriors. I was just happy to get a close game.
Before we talk about this is the series where we did our prize picks. This is the series where we did that.
Yes,
and every single
so we knew what was happening. So
we had the magic 8 ball because Prize Picks made daily fantasy so easy. We were able to get that down and get 10 times what we put in on that entry. Prize Picks offers more NBA props than any other DFS operator and offers every player in stat category you can think of. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. PrizePicks allows for mixed sport entries. So, for example, you can take the over on Tyler Hero and the under on, what is that? Giancarlo or Juancarlo?
Yeah, Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton. All right, bet. And take the under on Giancarlo Stanton in the same entry. Now, I don't know who that is, but I'm sure he's a baller.
He got hit in the face. He played for the Marlins. He got hit in the face with a pitch, and it was horrible. And then he got signed by the Yankees. He hits real far. That's what he's good at. He hits really, really, really far.
All right, I'll
he had
take
some.
That.
They were playing the Red Sox in the wild card last year, I think, and he hit like multiple what should have been home runs. And they have the big. Do you know what the big green monster is?
No.
Oh my God, Fenway Park, the big green wall. No idea. They've got this big green wall, and it's like gigantic. It's like hilarious that they did this in a baseball stadium where it's like, okay, you hit a home run if it goes over the fence. We'll make the fence like 50 feet tall. And he got snubbed by that a couple times and only hit singles. He should have won that game for the Yankees. I don't know why I know this, but I did watch that wild card game.
I don't know why you know that either.
Oh yeah, I'm a big baseball guy.
Users that deposit and use our promo code will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Just be sure to use the promo code STAYHOT. I saw someone on Twitter, they actually put in the same entries as us in Prize Picks, and they were like, "Yo, thank you," because they hit. They hit. So if you guys want the vision, download Prize Picks, use the promo code STAYHOT, or go to prizepicks.com. Same promo code STAYHOT. Because Prize Picks makes daily fantasy easy, and we make your selections easy. But
we really do.
But Warriors, Mavs.
Shout out Looney. We're Looney for Looney on this podcast.
We are Looney for Looney.
One of the greatest big men.
I don't think I've ever seen a player beat their over that bad. He times 4 it or whatever.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were sleeping on Looney. Look. A lot of the big men have been played off the court in this playoffs, all right? Bam Adebayo's been mid. Cat has been mid.
Well, except for the last
Gobert.
game.
Gobert, I guess, had no shot, but he's famously, been played off the court. Kevon Looney, he's better than all those guys, all right? Look, his rebound numbers have been unbelievable in these playoffs. He had 22 a couple games ago in the closeout game against the Grizzlies. He's had 12 in the last game. I guess those are the only 2 with the double digits, so I guess not unbelievable. But recently, he's been incredible, all right? And, the assist numbers have been pretty high for a big man. And I think, the minutes jump that he's had, over the past couple games, showing that, Kerr has a lot of faith in him, and he's been rewarding them. And again, that big man is kind of what the Warriors have been missing, right? Like, you've got all these wings and you got Curry, but what's in the paint? Looney's in the paint, right. And that makes the Warriors a very intimidating basketball team if they're going to get that kind of play out of a big man like that.
Yeah, and that's what's killing the Mavs. Maxi Kleber is just the interior defense of the Mavs is just not good enough. It just isn't. You cannot get away with this forever.
Paging DeAndre Ayton, paging Ayton.
Here's the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, Matt.
Oh, no, it's all you.
I feel like the Mavs still could have won that game. Right? I feel
because Luka dropped 40, Brunson had 30, and they still lost because
they were up big at half, right? Weren't they up? They were up at 14 at half or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they came out in the third quarter, and it's like they've never played basketball before. Like, the lack of energy in the third quarter is just, you can't come out that way against the Warriors. Might be the best third quarter team in basketball. And yeah, they turned it on in the fourth, but at that point it's too late. At that point it was too late. The Warriors were already hitting and they were in a rhythm. Clay was, kind of non-existent for the first half. That fourth quarter, he started to even hit some of his stuff. So it's like, yeah, I get Luka had 42, but he had 4 in the third quarter. The Mavericks collectively had 13 in the third. Like, that just can't happen. You cannot come out that dead.
Well-coached teams are third quarter teams. Great teams are third quarter teams. It seems like you go in at halftime, you make the big time adjustments.
Yeah.
I 100% agree about the Mavs. Like, if they had Ayton, this would be an entirely different thing.
I was saying, like, he should have had better performances against the Mavs, but yeah,
100%. But on the defensive end, if the Mavs had him, because I know that's somebody they're going to try to go get in free agency, it'd be big time. And that's what I think makes people nervous about Ayton, though, because on offense, why couldn't he go and exploit this mismatch? Why couldn't he go beat this defense?
Right. Yeah,
it's just tough for the Mavericks. You're working your way up here. I don't love their odds to pull off another comeback, although if I'm wrong and they come back and win this series, I'll be glad to be wrong.
They've been down 0-2 before.
But the Warriors are the best run team in North American sports, and I don't think they're going to blow this lead.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'm defensively, they're nuts.
Allow it to happen.
Yeah,
Draymond won't allow it to happen.
You asked a question a while ago. Would you rather have Carmelo or Draymond Green?
Prime Carmelo or prime Draymond Green?
I think for over the course of their career, if I could start my team with one, I might go Draymond and then try to find a shot creator. He really is that important. His defense is just nuts. And the Warriors always have great defense. And I don't know, man.
Draymond's a big reason why.
I've come around to that. I've come around to that argument a little bit more. My thing is, like, I answer Carmelo Anthony there just because I feel like if Draymond Green was drafted by not the Warriors, if he was drafted by the Orlando Magic or he was the first overall pick to where did Melo get drafted? Was he at the Nuggets first? Yeah. Like, I don't think that he leads them to the playoffs, like Carmelo did, like that's my thing.
No, definitely. It's definitely
a lot more.
I hate floor ceiling raisers, but it's definitely that type of thing. Obviously Draymond alone can't make a team great, but he can be that guy on defense. And that is incredibly valuable. So
Draymond can make a good team great. And Carmelo can make a bad team good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't care anymore. I don't care. It's a silly hypothetical. But yeah, no, I remember that was the whole thing. And I would still maybe lean Carmelo just because I feel like 90% of teams would benefit more from a guy who can make a bad team good than like a great team, a finals like dynasty. But I don't know. He's good either way. Draymond, Hall of Famer, and all that. And I guess they blew the 3-1 lead, but that was without Draymond for that one game where he got suspended. But I don't know. They are incredible, and the fact that they can just find these guys, Jordan Poole, who had another incredible game, and he's someone that we talk about just finding guys who like move a little bit different. He's someone like his first step and the way that he can contort his body and his like spatial awareness, where he's like falling and can still hit shots. And I think of this wasn't this game. This was the last game at the end of or maybe it was game one at the end of the third quarter. He hit a buzzer beater where he was just like kind of like snaking his way around somebody and like shot it from like an unconventional angle and it drained. And he's just so good, and he's going to be good for a long time. And I think like, again, I'd rather have him than like a Tyler Hero. I think he's like a little bit above that. You know, he's been fantastic. He's been a revelation, and you can't say enough good things about what he's done. And Draymond and Curry's turned it on a little bit and looking a little bit more like him. Not that he was bad post All-Star break, but you know, I would say that he's playing some of his best basketball in this series so far. I don't know if you'd agree. Clay, not super great defensively, but you know, the Mavericks don't quite have the guys to maybe punish that totally. Sure, yeah. Like they don't have everyone that can just totally punish that. Obviously they have Luka, and Luka's fantastic, but yeah, Warriors and Celtics to me are the two teams with like the highest ceilings. Warriors are up 2-0, Celtic, but the Warriors have been here a million times before, and they're more consistent. Right. That's the difference, I guess.
Well, and they're, you know, the Mavs I just don't think the Mavs defense is going to work against the Warriors the way it did against the Suns. Like the Warriors are just move the ball too well. That's the other thing about Draymond is that he moves the ball well. It's not just a defense thing. I know he's not some like stud, but like those guys move the ball so well. And when the Mavs try to like rotate, it doesn't work the same way that it did against the Suns.
Yeah. And it's weird. It shouldn't have worked against the Suns, because I would also label the Suns as having some of the best ball movement in the league before they
normally did. Yeah, but like in that series, it was like watching a totally different basketball team.
That play where Booker like tried to drive inside and then he went up for a shot and changed his mind in the middle and like threw it back out and just threw it right to a Mavs player. I can't get it out of my mind. I can't believe they started playing like that.
They broke. They broke. But yeah, you can't rely on the Suns to do the same thing. So yeah, you just can't expect this. Yeah, I agree, Matt, where it's going to be a little bit different. Like, yes, I don't want to write off the Mavericks because I just wrote off the Mavericks in the Suns series after the Suns were up 2-0. But I just don't think the same thing is going to happen to the Warriors, where they just kind of shut down and their star center is getting benched and yelled at in a game 7, or their third star. Like the equivalent would be like Jordan Poole just like quitting. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that he's not going to take advantage of the weaknesses. I don't know. It's just the Golden State Warriors, man. Like you said, maybe the best run team in North America.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think they are. And their player development is nuts. All of these guys they've drafted are going to turn out. Poole turned out. Moody's going to turn out. Kuminga's going to turn out. Wiseman is a rough mistake, but if you're trying to just pick the one bad draft pick that a team has, that's pretty nuts in the NBA.
Yeah,
most draft picks don't.
Imagine
it's kind of like the Steelers
draft pick,
in the NFL.
If they had gotten LaMelo there, I really don't know what you would do. And it's like their roster's so expensive, and they're willing to pay it every year. And they might lose Wiggins because they just can't pay everybody, and he's making $30 million, so they might have to get off of his contract. And he's fantastic. He's so important, and it doesn't even make me feel nervous for them, because I know that just means Kuminga will probably step up more. Moody will probably step up more if that happens, and it's no big deal. So
and Wiggins wasn't even like a colossal disappointment on the Timberwolves too. Like they did here in Minnesota. I don't know if people realize how much they hate Wiggins in Minnesota. Timberwolves fans really, really were frustrated with Wiggins, and he went to the Warriors, and he's now an all-star starter. Yeah. So
and everyone loves him.
Debatable, but yeah. Yeah, no, Warriors are crazy. Mavs, Luka's still crazy. 42 points last night. Just like, you know, if you keep playing like that, I think you're going to take some games off. I don't think the Mavs are going to get swept. But, yeah, not looking great for them. Not a lot of – you're up 2-0.
Breaks my heart.
Warriors are up 2-0 and they don't have Chris Paul, so.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's over for the Mavs or anything. We got to see what they do at home first. They do kind of get we saw what you did last series, but
Yep.
I think what the Warriors can do to the Mavs defense is probably going to stay the same. You just have to hope that the Mavs offense doesn't go quiet like it did in the third quarter.
Yeah, that just can't happen again. But I don't know how to transition to this. I usually have like a really good oh, we love this. And I could be like, you know what else we love? Our good friends over at Factor. But this podcast is brought to you by Factor. And it's getting warmer outside. Here in Ohio, I don't know if people realize this. We have about 3 months, maybe 2.5 months of good weather for the year. But the rest of the time I consider just winter. But as the weather gets warmer here, you want to spend some more time outside. You don't want to just be cooped up in the house all day with the heat on. Factor can help you do that. Spend less time at home in the kitchen and more time enjoying, the spring. And as we emerge into the summer, you don't have to cook as much. You don't have to go grocery shopping. You don't have to do all the dishes. Plus, it's the perfect health conscious grab and go, choice. You get smoothies, you get juices. And, luckily I don't have to meal plan or prep or anything. I can still eat well without having to do all the hard work that goes into it now that I have my meals with Factor. Factor, they make it super easy for me to, eat clean 24/7. It was fresh, never frozen, pre-prepared meals that are so delicious you won't even believe they're actually good for you. They save you time delivering chef-crafted meals to your doorstep, eliminating the hassle of grocery shopping and meal prep, not to mention cleanup, no dishes, right? Each Factor meal arrives pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes. That's even faster than ordering in. Have you seen how long DoorDash takes recently? It takes forever. Factor tackles the tough stuff so I don't have to. Their registered dietitians and expert chefs work hand in hand to create meals with nutritious ingredients. And with more than 29 meal options each week, I'm never bored. And I like to change it up every now and then. As someone, I eat toaster waffles almost every day, but sometimes I get bored. Factor even knows my preferences. They offer vegan, veggie meals, keto meals, low-calorie options, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, plant-based bars, extra protein, veggie sides, and tons more to keep me fueled and focused all day long. So make sure to head on over to go.factor75.com/stayhot120. I know that's long, so I'm going to urge you to open your notes app, get a pen and paper. I'm going to read it again for you. That's go.factor75.com/stayhot120 and use the code stayhot120 to get $120 off. Again, that's the code stayhot120 at GoFactor or go.factor75.com/stayhot120 for $120 off. So we're going to hop into this NFL segment that we literally threw together in 5 minutes.
Let me grab my notes, my power rankings.
Basically the idea is, we did this kind of draft for the offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year. And we're going to do the same thing for the MVP. We each get three picks. And I think it's going to be a snake style draft. So if Daniel, you're producing, if you could send us the results from the tweet. I don't know if we ever really announced that Daniel's our full-time producer now.
I don't think anyone knows. You keep making this assumption that people know who Daniel is.
Yeah, I keep doing that, and no one does.
You're like, oh, why don't the fans recognize that Daniel maybe sent this tweet out? And it's because it's
no one knows who Daniel is.
No one knows.
Here's the Stay Hot lore: is that we hired Daniel as our social media manager, and then we ended up promoting him to full-time producer. So that's the lore.
Who's picking first?
Matt, you have the first pick. Theo, you get the second pick, and I get the last pick.
All right.
Breaks my heart. You guys hate me, but
I know who Matt's gonna pick.
I don't think you do. I might.
I know who Matt's gonna pick.
I'm debating 2 players. It's either gonna be Josh Allen, or Justin Herbert.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Herbert he is like great, but his team has yet to be great. Like Josh Allen being an MVP level quarterback on one of the best teams, we've done that.
Right.
We've done it with Rodgers. We've done it with Brady. Herbert, that's going to be no, because they're going to be really good next year. So I wonder if that sort of like, you know, there's like something, I think being fresh like that is going to matter. And
Matt, I think you need to process like draft logic here, right? Like pick Josh Allen now. I don't think Theo or I are going to end up picking Herbert before the pick gets back to you.
Speak for yourself, man.
I think I'm like 100% confident that Theo will take Herbert. It's snake style, right? So I have the 6th pick.
Yeah, I got 2 picks before. Herbert's sick, man. Herbert is
sick.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He's so nice, dude.
He is so nice. I was watching for my Micah Parsons video the Chargers game because Micah Parsons, that was his first game as an edge rusher. And like Herbert's is the best in the league at hitting hole shots up the sideline. Like if it's cover 2, right, the corner takes the flat, the safety's in the deep half. And there's a spot in between the flat and the deep half where the wide receiver runs. Herbert is the best in the league. He does it all the time. And throwing it right over the corner, right before the safety, and just nailing it. And he is just like the amount of those type of throws that he hit in that game was ridiculous. And he's 6'6" with like a generational arm and that kind of accuracy to do that consistently, and that kind of aggressiveness to do that consistently. He doesn't take sacks. And he had like this horrible offensive line his rookie year and beat the touchdown record and like hit all these deep shots. He is nice. He is nice.
He is nice. I'm just saying.
He's not my number 1 pick though.
Yeah, I figured he wouldn't be your number 1. I didn't know if he would be your number 2.
All right, I don't think I can stray from my guy though. I will go Josh Allen. I really do think like he's had the seasons before. It just hasn't quite lined up. I think Buffalo might be the best team in the NFL this year. And really, when you're looking at this for MVP, you're going to say, all right, who is going to be one of the, an elite quarterback on one of the best teams? I know Josh Allen's going to do that.
He also, what he offers on the ground too, is like in the past, I feel like he's one of his better arguments for MVP is like, not only has he done what he does through the air, but also he's the team's best rushing threat.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll change with James Cook, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel it's a little bit like maybe he isn't I don't know what the betting odds are. Maybe he's not the favorite.
He is the favorite.
Oh, he's due. I know that's not a real thing, but he is. He's getting 1. And I'll keep picking the Bills and Josh Allen until they prove me right, because I believe in them.
Until they prove me right. You sound like me with the Browns. Theo, you have the 2nd pick.
Yeah, I think I might go. Mahomes is obviously the one that I'm debating here. My thing with Mahomes is like, there were times where Mahomes looked pretty questionable last year and didn't win the MVP with Tyreek Hill. Without Tyreek Hill, is he going to have the best quarterback season of any age? Should I be banking on that, or should I bank on someone like Brady, or should I bank on someone like Herbert? Or is he going to have a great season, which he definitely could? And the fact that he did it without Hill.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what makes me want to pick Mahomes.
Those are the coin flip. Is like, are you going to bank on Mahomes having his worst career, like his worst season of his career without Tyreek Hill? Or are you going to bet on Mahomes being still maybe the best or arguably the best quarterback in the league? And his MVP case is like undeniable because he lost Tyreek Hill.
I would say that actually Mahomes would have been my 2nd pick. I wouldn't have picked Herbert over him, even though I like Herbert, because that not having Hill makes the path to it'll be like something. Maybe I'm talking too much about just the narratives, but if he can put up those numbers without Hill, because there's always some people who will say, even though it's not true at all, it's like, oh well, he's just Tyreek and Kelsey are just such good weapons, and that's why he's able to do it. So it does make it kind of undeniable if he puts up those numbers.
It would be hard to debate otherwise.
You know what, though? I'm going to fade Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to fade him and pick someone else. I'm going to take Tom Brady. I'm going to take Tom Brady in what is probably the last year of his career, with, again, fantastic weapons. I have all the faith in the world in Tom Brady, still looking pretty damn good. I think he had a better season than Mahomes did last year. If I wanted, I think I could say that, right? So many of Tom Brady's picks last year were batted balls, tipped balls, and the interception numbers looked worse than they actually were. I mean, at this point in his career, his arm has somehow gotten stronger. He's taking PEDs, but I can't prove it. He always makes the right decisions. He's got the last year of his career, and they might, like, narrative wise, I think he might have it. Weapons wise, I think he might have it. And skills wise, I think he might have it. Mahomes with the too high, figuring that out. I mean, he's fantastic, but without Tyreek, I think that Brady could probably have a better season. So I'm going Tom. That's my guy. I'm taking him.
I like
even
the
over
Brady
Herbert.
pick. Brady was going to be my, because I knew Matt was taking Josh Allen, so Brady was going to be my first pick. Because they're also going to have Godwin. Like, their whole group is going to be healthy.
Yep.
I think that's going to matter a lot. But since, Allen and Brady are gone, Mahomes, like, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
We talk about, we were talking about in the NBA guys that can just, like, contort their body and create ridiculous shots. The thing that reminds me most of is Patrick Mahomes and the way that he can just
Patrick Mahomes is the Jordan Poole of
It's like, but like the throws that I remember is like in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, where he's throwing like some of the best passes I've ever seen, like literally parallel to the ground, and there's no quarterback in the NFL that can do that, like point blank period. Losing Hill will hurt. But I also have faith in the Chiefs offense as a whole and their play calling to kind of scheme guys open. And also Travis Kelce is still a massive piece. He's arguably the best receiving tight end in football. If you can utilize him and you can utilize the other guys you have, they got Juju. Juju's not a bad receiver in the slot. I still think Patrick Mahomes has weapons. It's just not, arguably the best receiver in the NFL. I think he has plenty of guys to get it done. It's just going to be a matter of if he can look better than he did last year. But,
and you're back on the clock.
Oh, I am back on the clock. This is interesting. So I could take Herbert.
You could.
I could take Herbert. I could also take Rodgers. Oh, man, this is tough.
Having the sixth pick, I think 1 and 6 is not a good combo here. I think the top 5 guys I feel great about.
This is tough. Rodgers, I don't know if he'll have the narrative. Winning 3 times.
Here's the thing. I would agree.
Back to back.
But Rodgers goated, sadly.
No Adams.
Yo, okay. See, this brings up like the thing that Theo is always talking about, how Rodgers always takes like, day 2 receivers and turns them into like superstars. If he does that this year, then yeah, he would win it. And that's
unthinkable.
It's not unthinkable. And there's also like rumors of, what if Odell ends up in Green Bay? Like, and then all of a sudden he has another piece to throw to. And Robert Tunyon's not a bad tight end either. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, MVP. 3 in a row. Theo, it's like, do you like 3 in a row for Aaron Rodgers?
I get a little concerned because after, they had that crazy wide receiving core in 2011 that was Jordy, Jennings, Driver, Cobb, and James Jones, which in my opinion is the best wide receiving core of all time. Like those 5 guys, like they had like Jordy Nelson as wide receiver 5.
You'd be hard pressed to find a.
They had that crazy, and then like they all got a little bit older, and they became a little bit less effective. And then from about 2015 to 2019, Rodgers was not playing at an MVP caliber level, I would say. So I'm a little concerned with Adams gone. Maybe he reverts to that where he's like not super efficient and throwing the ball away a lot. I could see a world where that type of season happens and he's frustrated with all the receivers and not really trusting of them. And maybe like I could see a world where that Rodgers comes back.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that concerns me. But you could also say McCarthy's fault because as soon as LaFleur got there. Right. Yeah. Adams was still there when Rodgers was inefficient, and it was McCarthy who left. Then LaFleur came in and Rodgers started looking like the greatest quarterback of all time again, So that's the question is like, do we think that he's going to revert into like that's still very good, but not great 2015 to 2019 era Rodgers without Adams? Or is he in LaFleur's system going to make anything work? I think that's the question.
I do think there's also like, there might be a little bit of overlap with like the McCarthy issue, but then there also might be an issue with the receivers because, I mean, Devontae wasn't Devontae right away. It's not like
he wasn't in 2016. Devontae started to get good. He was awful. He
started, but like, I don't know. I feel like Devontae wasn't. I feel like 2017 is really kind of his year.
Yeah, but still 2017, 2018, 2019, Rodgers was not an MVP candidate. All right. So,
fair.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to get to see a little bit. I don't know. Rodgers concerns me a little bit more. Yeah, I lied. One of us is going to end up taking Herbert. It's going to be me.
Yeah, see, you see how messed up that is, man. Oh, dude, why would you take Herbert? No one's going to pick him, and then you pick him.
Yeah. Fuck you, man. I'm taking Herbert.
Right.
It's just like, I trust Herbert. I think is just as good as any quarterback in the NFL right now. The throws, Theo's already given his rant on how good Herbert is. I don't need to, regurgitate all that. But he's kind of shown this like only get better type of play, which I love that with Jalen Hurts. Which, depending on how the list falls, we might come back to Jalen Hurts a little bit later. I think I think Herbert's the guy. He can throw it all over the field. The game against the Raiders last year is one of my, like, that last game where they went to over. That's one of my favorite performances of the entire season, is that game. And they should have won. Herbert has every chance to get it.
Yeah,
all right.
I agree.
Yes, yes, he does.
I know. I wanted to talk about the Raiders game. I always bring that game up. So that brings us back to you, Theo.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Rodgers here at this point. Like, he's been the best quarterback in the league the past 2 years. And if you look at Rodgers' games without Adams, I mean, it's pretty good. His record without Adams is actually like pretty phenomenal since like Adams has been drafted. I know I think they went 2-0 this year without him or something like that. I think they went like 2-0 last year or something with him like that. And I'm not sure who's going to get it done. I really don't. But Rodgers is just that guy, and he's got the complete mastery of the sport down. He's aggressive. He hits the crazy highlight throws. He doesn't turn the football over. I know that his touchdown to interception ratio is going to be ridiculous. And if he can be a top 5 quarterback with that skill position group, because I think it is an argument for the worst skill position group in football. I really do. Tunyon, Mercedes Lewis, DeGuara, Christian Watson, Lazard, Cobb, Amari Rodgers. Like, it's bad, man. It's not good.
Slander, but I agree.
DeGuara slander.
He's going for 1,000 this year, man.
He's going to have to be really efficient because I think they're going to keep the ball on the ground a decent amount. I think they're going to be a run-heavy team. And that was kind of the case last year where Brady had all the counting stats, but Rodgers was efficient in all levels of the field. He's going to have to do that again. I would have taken everybody we named above Rodgers, but at this point, I think Rodgers is pretty good value.
I would agree. It's tough not to pick him now. He's won the last 2 years, so you...
Yeah. That's the thing, like the narrative of like 3 in a row. That's going to be, I think that's going to be.
I don't even know if I feel like it's a narrative thing. I mean, yeah, probably voters get a little bit bored, but when it comes down to it, they're going to pick, like, if Rodgers is on.
If he gets his 5th MVP, that's crazy. That's crazy. Peyton has 4.5.
Yeah.
Peyton has 4.5.
He shared one.
That's the thing. If I'm pushing Peyton Manning narratives, he has 5. If Rodgers, gets another one, I'm pushing the Peyton has 4.5.
I ended up hopping on the Brady GOAT train after, the last 2 seasons that Brady's had. So
yeah, I don't care. Brady, sure. Yeah, he's the greatest. I'm not going to fight it until he gets proven that he's been altering his genes or taking HGH. Yeah. But Matt, you are back up.
You're back.
I'm going Joe Burrow.
Okay.
That was my next pick.
I'm going Burrow. Yeah, I think that offense is, those receivers are still crazy. Burrow has got a lot of hype going. He is a really great quarterback, and now that he's got an offensive line that can cut down on
turnovers,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think like maybe with a better offensive line, if he can cut down on turnovers, his numbers could look really nice. The Bengals, I think, still have a chance to be very good, even though they play in a tough division. Super Bowl hangover does make me a little nervous for this, but I do feel like the offense got significantly better. We're picking the sixth. Once you're down to like your sixth choice for MVP, you're not going to get anybody who's perfect. But I could totally see a world where Burrow puts up some crazy numbers in an offense that now has an offensive line. So that's who I'd go with.
That's the thing I think with Super Bowl hangover is it's a lot of times that in order to become a Super Bowl caliber team, you have to invest a lot of resources. And the Bengals didn't really have to do that.
Yeah, they kind of got there prematurely. So I still feel like they're heading up. It just might be that they got the games to break their way. But then with my next pick, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Now we're getting into like...
Now we're getting into... Dak Prescott isn't unthinkable here. Watson isn't unthinkable, but I don't think he's going to even play. And I think they're not voting for him.
Yeah, Watson's not winning it. I promise you, Watson's.
I almost want to go like Derek Carr or something, but he's got the weapons for him, man. But I don't
speak my language.
I don't see it. And part of me wants to go Lamar Jackson too.
What about Stafford?
Yeah, Stafford is not unthinkable.
Stafford was in the conversation for much of last year.
That's true.
People forget that. He had a bad stretch in the middle of the season that kind of derailed everything, but he was
that's
up
the
there.
problem. But again, you're on your seventh choice at this point.
I think Brady lost the MVP last year largely because it's just like, dude, his team is so stacked. And I wonder if the narrative will be kind of the same for Stafford, where it's like
interesting. I don't think
also Brady had that game against the Saints, that like horrendous game against the Saints. You just can't blow games like that. And
you know what? Actually, the most important part to winning MVP is, if we're picking these quarterbacks, is being on a really great team.
Yeah,
and I know the Rams will be really good next year. So you're taking the good part of it. Okay, I'll agree with you here, Theo. I'll go Matthew Stafford.
Well, fuck you for that. Okay. I was just trying to make sure you didn't forget anybody.
No, I think because like my other Dak, I feel like the Cowboys will be good, but they might not be MVP quarterback good. And even then, it's also a question whether Dak's going to put up the numbers. And I like Dak, but
all right. I'm going to be. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're kind of betting on two things. Lamar is kind of a wild card. I really like him, and you can see the path, but same thing. And Derek Carr, same thing. I mean, that team could not even make the playoffs. So
I'm going to go outside the box. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor here. I think in a stacked AFC, the Colts are still going to make the playoffs with Matt Ryan at quarterback. I think they're going to continue to feed Jonathan Taylor. I think he's going to lead the league in rushing yards. Maybe he'll put up a 2,000 yard. I think he might put up a 2,000 yard season in a 17 game season. And in a crazy AFC, I guess I predicted the entire AFC West to make the playoffs. So this can't both happen. So I'll eventually make a solid pick on this, but I think the Colts could make the playoffs in a loaded AFC on the back of Jonathan Taylor 2,000 yard season. I don't think that's a crazy scenario. And if that were to happen, I think I can see it. Votes.
That would be awesome, dude. I would love. That would be.
I'm rooting for it.
Oh, I want to pick a running back. People on Twitter would be.
You know, The Athletic did a poll of every player, like NFL player, about who they would have picked for MVP. Taylor won that poll by like a considerable margin. The players think he's the MVP. Yeah. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor. I think that scenario is not necessarily a 100% guarantee, but I don't think it's crazy. And, you know, let's make it a non-all quarterback draft. And let me take Taylor.
I was going to pick a running back too, but it wasn't going to be Taylor.
Was it going to be Nick Chubb?
It was going to be Nick Chubb. I don't think.
Backfield running back.
Think about it this way: if Deshaun Watson misses the first half of the season, You think they're just going to lean on Jacoby Brissett and have him throw, 30 times a game? No, they're going to lean on, Nick Chubb. And,
and I think they're going to go 1-5 in that period.
They could.
Look, Browns running back MVP, right idea. Maybe just the wrong back.
Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford MVP, baby. Come on.
Oh, no, I want to pick Nick Chubb, but you're right, Theo. Like, Kareem Hunt being back there is going to mess things up a little bit. And
I just don't think he's going to have the count. I think you need to have a 2,000-yard season to win MVP as a running back.
Well, and not even like that. If the Browns, because let's say they're without Deshaun Watson for the entire season, I don't know if they make the playoffs. And you're not giving the MVP to a team that missed the playoffs, right? If they're without Deshaun Watson for half the season, yeah, they could start off with 2 or 3 wins, right? So like it makes it really difficult. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to be my next pick. The way I see it with Lamar is this: his path to MVP is very similar to Josh Allen's. The only difference is Lamar Jackson. Who's he throwing to? Right, that's the big question.
My boy,
Rashad Bateman,
my darling boy, Rashad.
Your darling boy. If Bateman can step it to his own, yeah, that would be awesome.
He will.
The problem with the Ravens last year was that everyone got hurt, and including Lamar, he got hurt. And without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens won a single game. That was going to be a playoff team with maybe the most injured roster in the NFL, and he got hurt. If everyone is healthy and Lamar is healthy and he's playing at the level that we know he can play at, that's an MVP. No question about it.
I think that's a good take. I think that's a good pick. At 9, Lamar Jackson, I think that's pretty strong.
I'm glad he got picked. I'm a big Lamar fan, so I would have taken. He was next on my list. I just wanted to take a running back. I just realized I took the 3 MVP candidates from last year: Rodgers, Brady, and
Brady.
Well, that's kind of
Taylor.
the way the board fell to you, no?
Yeah, I mean,
like
Taylor
at
was
5, you couldn't have gone anything other than Rodgers.
Yeah,
you could have gone Lamar over Jonathan Taylor.
I think that once you pick
I wanted you to pick Burrow, Theo, just so you could silence
I'm not a Burrow hater. I thought it was a good pick. I think it's very realistic that Burrow has a better season than Rodgers, considering the weapons both of them have. And Burrow would probably be next on my list. But yeah, I don't
like
think
the Burrow
that.
Pick.
I'm looking at the MVP odds.
I'm looking at Rodgers' stats without Devontae Adams these past couple years since 2019. Here are the touchdown numbers he's put up: 2, 5, 3, 3, 4, 2. No interceptions in any of those games, and 429 yards, 305 yards, 283 yards, 327 yards, and then 184 yards. So
it's a guarantee.
Lots of great performances without Devontae Adams over these past couple of years. But obviously, he still had some nicer players than what he has now. But Rodgers without Adams has honestly been, pretty fantastic since 2019, and really since they drafted Adams.
Now, I have my last pick here, and I think, Theo, you still have one more pick to make, correct?
No, I took 3. I think you took 3 as well. You took Herbert, and you took Mahomes, and you took Lamar. That's 3.
Oh, that's 3?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is 3. Shit. Okay.
It's over.
That's tough. Because I wanted to give a really bold. I was either going to say Hurts, but I've made that take so many times. The other guy I was thinking about was Jameis. I'm saying, like, Michael Thomas comes back. You got Chris Olave, right? He was already performing, like, he was pretty efficient last year before he got hurt. I don't think it's unreasonable that he could have at least had a case. It was like the 10th guy to pick, or like the 11th guy to pick for an MVP, like plus 7,500 odds, like low key.
Let's all give one just totally out there pick. You've got Hurts and Jameis. We'll call it both of them. Let's see. I think someone like Chase isn't maybe that crazy, but I don't know if a wide receiver has ever won it. So someone like Chase is a little crazy.
Tyreek would be interesting.
How about this? I'll stick with my boy. I'm going to say last year I made the Trevor Lawrence MVP take, right? And then he had a horrible statistical rookie season. This year with Doug Peterson, right? It's going to be like Wentz 2017. Because like I've said, Lawrence is a little Wentzy. He's a little bit like Wentz, like ish. I think he's got better poise than Wentz and is probably a more normal guy than Wentz is. But Trevor Lawrence, he's going to have the 2017 Wentz season with Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is going to get that from him. Lawrence's poise is better. His mechanics are better. He's a generational quarterback prospect. Last year with Urban, no one could have done anything. This year, he's going to be what 2017 Wentz should have been. He's going to win MVP. That's my out there take. That's my long odds take.
I'll go Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is maybe an out there take. That team could be good, and if he could go out there and change a lot of things, and with how that offense works, I could see that. I love the MVP odds because once you get to like plus 15,000, they can let you bet on like any player. So if you want to put some money on Elijah Mitchell winning MVP,
Elijah Moore,
they'll let you do it.
DeGuara, where's he at? He's going to be Cup. He's the Packers Cup. All right. Well, we're like an hour into this thing. We got to talk about the mailbag now, right?
We have to talk about So we wanted to hear from you guys. Every week from now on, we're going to start choosing a few questions for you guys to answer on the podcast. From you guys to answer on the podcast. You can ask us about pretty much anything. It can be about sports.
I would almost prefer it not
things.
Be about sports.
Exactly, because we spend an hour talking about sports. Let's spend 5-10 minutes not talking about sports. It can be on the latest Kendrick album, for example. Just email us at stayhotpodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get to these questions. You could also, I guess, also make a TikTok and tag us if you have like a video that it's easier to say in a video. But before we get into that, I would just like to thank our good friends over at Manscaped for sponsoring this episode. You asked for it and they listened. Our friends at Manscaped just brought back the Ultra Smooth package. It's time to stop, drop, and order this premium shaving kit. Everyone knows by now that the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best electric shave for your balls. But if you're looking for a closer shave to go bare down there, then the Ultra Smooth package is the perfect set. It's time to shave that bush of yours and get right to the roots. With a discount just for you, get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with the code STAYHOT. The Ultra Smooth package is a specialized groin shaving kit to help you buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. I'm talking the crop shaver razor, the crop exfoliator, and crop gel. Men, you no longer have to borrow your lady's razor for that precise trim. Again, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code STAYHOT at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off plus free shipping with the code STAYHOT at manscaped.com. Smooth out your fellas with the relaunched Ultra Smooth package from the fellas at Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. So, taking a look at we don't have a ton of time, so we're only going to do one question today, right? Normally, I think we can normally do 3, but this episode went a little bit longer than we anticipated. So we're only going to do 1. From Emmett, who emailed us asking, in a cage match, do you think you could win in a fight against any bird? Now, we talked to Theo about this. He thinks that question is a little easy.
I'm strangling a chicken. Like, there's no way a chicken is beating me in a cage match. All right.
But so we're gonna change it up a little bit, make an amendment to this question, and ask: is there any bird you think you would lose to in a cage match with no weapons?
I think I would lose to many birds.
There's some mean birds in Australia. The Australian Army lost a war to emus at one point. Like, their military lost a war to emus. Cassowaries kill people. They're this big fucking ostrich-looking thing that with a blue head. They've got gigantic claws, and there have been human deaths recorded by those things. Like, I don't know what I'm doing to beat that thing, but I mean, they've got like these knife claws. So it's like, I guess I would go for the neck, try to strangle it. But if it would kick me in the chest, and then it would tear my throat open with its big claws. I think I would lose to a cassowary. I think an ostrich, I'm not sure quite I don't think an ostrich death has ever happened. But again, I just don't know what I'm doing to bring that thing down. Like, again, I could maybe punch it in the head, right? But its head is so small and it's so tall that I just don't know if that's like a sure thing where I'm just going to walk up to it and hit its head, because it's a small little thing. And body blows aren't going to do anything to an ostrich, and a kick to my chest, You know, I think any of those like big flightless birds. Penguin, I'm taking. Okay, penguin, it's no problem. Harpy eagle is an interesting one. That's like the biggest like flying bird, I believe. That's got some big talons as well. But even those, it's like it's smaller than me. So it's like if I could maybe like hug it, it couldn't like. It's those big ones. It's those big flightless birds. I think I would lose.
Well, I was thinking like emu would be one I would definitely struggle against. I've heard like some horror stories when it comes to emus, and then there's like I was thinking like an eagle or a vulture, right?
I could beat an eagle.
I don't get how I would get an eagle.
That's what I'm saying. It can fly. It can just like swoop down.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing?
This is the problem. I don't think I could like really get an eagle, but I also like. It would be really tough for an eagle to kill me, right? Like,
if I could get a big stick, I think I could get that eagle.
It depends on
no weapons. No weapons.
I think I could. That eagle would not kill me. I don't think an eagle.
Right. That may be.
Eventually, I would get the. If I could get the eagle on the ground, if I could like.
Yeah, because all you'd have to do is grab it. Once you get a hold of it, it's over.
So if it slices at your wrists, though, that could happen. Yeah. I don't know. I think I could beat an eagle, though. I like to think like life or death situation, me or the eagle. I mean, eagles aren't that big compared to people.
But like a vulture?
Vulture is smaller than an eagle is.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
No, they're not that big.
All right.
Vultures are also not about that life. Vultures are
okay, yeah, but in life or death, though. Right, they know that they have to kill you. You know you have to kill them.
I'm killing a vulture. I'm killing a vulture.
Fair enough. But an emu's fucking me up.
Yeah, emu, cassowary, ostrich. I don't know about those. I don't know how I would. I think they could get me.
Yeah, but that answers your question, Emma. Thank you for asking. And that pretty much wraps things up for us. As always, tons of content coming away on all platforms. We will be back. This episode comes out Monday. We'll be back Friday. Of course, talk about some NBA playoffs. We might do an Offensive Player of the Year draft. That might be what we do for the NFL. I don't know. We'll think about something and we'll get it to you shortly.
Can we do a comeback player? That might get deep.
Comeback player of
the year odds. That might be a deep cut.
Because it's what like who's
Michael Thomas, Derrick Henry, maybe.
You run out of ideas pretty quick.
Like really fast. Coach of the Year might be interesting. That might be an interesting one to do. But
is it Darius Smith sleeper?
We'll be back Friday. I think we're doing a live stream on Wednesday.
Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Where Baker? Okay, Baker's not that high on this. Okay. Never mind. It's not as high on this list as I thought. Mitchell Trubisky is plus 800 for comeback player of the year. Get real.
Come on.
Daniel Jones is plus.
What if he
800.
starts? If Trubisky starts,
if he starts, he'll be a bad quarterback. You know,
where's Jameis?
Like,
What's Jameis's odds? What are Jameis's odds?
He's third. He's third in the third. He's plus 550.
Okay, I like
Henry
that.
Watson. It's Derrick Henry, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas, Daniel Jones, Christian McCaffrey, Mitchell Trubisky. Those guys are the best odds.
Okay. I can live with that. But we'll be back. Have some live streams coming your way. You already know. And until, as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.